And in this class, we mainly talk about these macromolecules, and we already talked about the difference between polymers and monomers, and we talk about all these different polymers, all these macromolecules, and now we're going to focus on this one, and nucleic acids. And so this is done, this is done, this is done, and all of them will be included in the midterm. And today we're going to talk about this one, and remember, this will be also included in your midterm. So after taking the quiz, now I'm going to solve some of the questions. And remember, so here you can find some information that can help you to answer some of the questions. So first question, nucleic acids are polymers made up of which of the following monomers? Okay, and the answer, you can solve it using this table that I already gave you, and I have seen that some of you have it in the summaries. So remember, in the nucleic acids, the monomers or the components will be nucleotides, the polymer will be polynucleotides, and the type of linkage will be the phosphodiester linkage. So this is right, and this is for DNA, but this is not the monomer. This is for RNA and DNA, but again, this is not the monomer. An amino acid is the monomer, but for proteins, so this is wrong. And sugars is just a very general name to describe carbohydrates, so this one is also wrong. So super easy, the answer will be nucleotides. Okay, now this question: which of the following are nitrogenous bases of the purine type? Okay, so you remember that there are purines and also pyrimidines, so you have to remember which one of these one are purines and which one are pyrimidines. So you can stop the video and think about it, or check in your notes. So, and now let's try to answer the question. Okay, so to answer this question, maybe I will show you that are purines and guanine, and I use a mnemonic that is pure as gold. But let's first talk about something that I talk in the video lecture, that there are two families of nitrogenous bases that are pyrimidines and purines. And the pyrimidines are a single ring of 6 members. So here this one have 6, 6, and 6. And there are 3 pyrimidines: cytosine, thymine, and uracil. And uracil is the only one that is only present in RNA. So remember, pyrimidines have a single 6-member ring. On the other hand, the purines have 2 rings. One with is a 5-member ring and is fused to a 6-member ring. And you have 2, the one that we want, adenine and guanine. So cytosine, thymine, and uracil are the pyrimidines, and the purines, remember, is the fusion between a 6-member ring and a 5-member ring. And the answer is adenine and guanine. As I said before, sometimes there are people that have a photographic memory and they not only remember the names but the structures. In my case, if you want, you can use this, pure as gold. So the P from purine, the A from adenine, and the G from guanine, so pure as gold. And in this way, I remember what are the purines. So answer here, it will be this one, purine and guanine, because these ones, the other ones are not correct. Okay, now the following, which of the followings include of the pyrimidines found in RNA and DNA? Okay, so now first they ask about purines, now they are asking us about pyrimidines. So if you want, you can stop the video and try to answer this question. And remember, they should be 3. based on what we said and as we saw last time in the previous slide. So definitely this was wrong, this one is wrong, this one has 4, so it should be one of these. So both have uracil. And maybe just if you remember that purines are pure as gold, you know that the G, so this one is wrong. So it should be this one. But let's go again and try to answer this in more detail. And then I can explain in more detail what is happening. Okay, so as I said before, this is the answer. And remember that there are 2 families. We already talked about the purines, and now here is the other groups. We know that there were 3, and the uracil has to be in the pyrimidines. How you remember the other 2? In my case, a student last year told me that, to remember that pyrimidines have a Y, and cytosine and thymine has a Y, and this is how she remembered. You can use different ways to remember. Now I remember that every time that I talk about pyrimidines, cytosine and thymine also have a Y. So this is how to remember, and uracil is just because it's RNA. Okay, so this will be the answer, and now let's go to the next question. Generally in the test, there is one question about this, what are the difference between DNA and RNA, and I already talked about that a lot in the video. And remember that RNA molecule exists as a single polypeptide chain. Well, here you have a double helix. And remember the type of nucleotides, that here uracil is replaced by thymine. So just go and review those things for the test. Okay, now the 4 different nucleotides parts called bases are made of a few. So which one they have? So they have, definitely they will have carbon. And what do you think that all these nucleotides have? What the monomer of the nucleic acids? So I know that all these options is the correct one. So all of them are correct. And in case that you have any doubt, I will explain in more detail in the next slide. So nucleic acids are polymers of polynucleotides, and here you have different parts. So a nucleotide has a phosphate group, a pentose sugar, and a nitrogenous base. So they have nitrogenous, pentose sugar, and phosphate. And remember that the pentose sugar has carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. As a result, this will be in the sugar. Here you can have this one, hydrogens. They can be in the hydrogen, and they can also be in the nitrogenous base. And the nitrogen and phosphorus, the phosphorus is here in the phosphate group, and in the nitrogenous base is the nitrogen. So all these options is the one that is correct. Okay, from these following options, adenine always pairs with, and I know this is very easy, it's with thymine. And if you have any doubt, in the video lecture talk about this, the DNA complementarity, and I talk that adenine in the DNA always pair with thymine, while guanine always pair with cytosine. And I give you these mnemonics that I use. You can use another ones, as I said. So the answer is very easy, and remember, this is DNA complementarity. If it's RNA, adenine will pair with uracil. Okay, so let's go to the next question. And to prepare you for the test, I know that you saw this video lecture, and we practiced just now the complementary about the DNA, and I might give you in the test a DNA template, and I might ask you the complementary strand. Yeah, something that we already saw in the DNA, and that is very easy to do. Now, this question asks the DNA molecules held together by, and this is very easy, and I'm sure that you are going to say no, no, definitely no glue. So very easy, hydrogen. Okay, I'm sure that you know these hydrogen bonds, and you know that the two nucleotides get together by hydrogen bonds, and we not only talk about DNA, also RNA, they can also get together in the transference RNA, and we will study this in more detail. This tRNA is very important, and it folds himself. So the two nucleotides can form again these hydrogen bonds here. So hydrogen bonds are important in the nucleic acids in the DNA and also in the tRNA. Now this question, the sugar found in the DNA. So I'm sure that you know that this D come from this one, so equal glucose is wrong. These two are the potential answers, but this one is for DNA and this one are for RNA. Sometimes I ask a question and I show you the structure. Generally don't ask the structures, but remember to study the structures. So you know that this is the DNA, here is the phosphate, the nucleic base, and here in the DNA is the deoxyribose sugar. So this will be the correct one. So the sugar in RNA is, so we just talked about that. Amino acid, no. Polypeptide, no. This is, the only option is ribose. So this is very easy. The sugar in RNA is the ribose, as I said before. Please study the structures and remember the ribose has an OH here, while the deoxyribose has a hydrogen here, and this is the difference. And I might ask you in the test this question, so please try to remember those structures. Now, okay, nucleic acids are composed of, and this is super easy, is composed of nucleotides. This is, you can also answer polynucleotides, so both are this is will be the monomer, and this will be the polymer. So as I said, nucleotides, the polymers are the polynucleotides, and here you have a nucleotide. And we already talked about the different components, that they have these three main components. So this is the answer, but I also consider that this, based on this, is a very general question, so both can be correct.